This is a boot jalaki, aka the ghost pepper. I'm probably mispronouncing the boot jalaki part, but I don't know any better, so that's what I'm calling it. Rings in around 1 million on the Scoville scale. To put things in perspective, jalapenos are about 4,000 on average, give or take. So in theory, this is about 250 times hotter than a jalapeno, and I'm going to eat it and describe the experience. I've kind of worked my way up from jalapenos. In fact, as of probably I just recently started increasing my tolerance, probably in the last 6 months or so, maybe a year. I've kind of lost track of time. But we'll say in the last 6 months or so, I've been experimenting with different chilies and whatnot. Started with jalapenos a while ago. Before this started, I could hardly even handle jalapenos. But I went from jalapenos to serranos to Thai chilies. I think was there something in between there? No, I think it was jalapenos to serranos to Thai chilies to habaneros, and now I'm at the boot jalaki. So I'm just kind of increasing my tolerance as I go. I had a few of each along the way, just to kind of build up my tolerance. And this, as far as I'm aware, is like the second or third hottest chili. I think there's the Carolina Reaper, and I think maybe one more. I'm sure there's probably others that we haven't found yet. But as far as I'm aware, there's just one or two that are hotter than this. So this is essentially one of the hottest chilies that we have that's known. So I'm going to eat it in a second here and describe the experience. And I guess that's all that I have to say beforehand. So without further ado, boot jalaki, ghost pepper. Cheers. Right off the bat, I don't really, not really hot yet, but I don't really like the taste for some reason. It's got a sweet taste, but I think the sweet combined with the heat, for some reason, I just don't like. I don't know why. But I'm going to keep chewing it anyway. I've got water here, I'll sort of wash it down. Water doesn't really help with the heat, but it helps wash things down. I don't like how these taste. I'll describe the heat in a second. Usually the heat skyrockets as soon as I swallow it. It just went up quite a bit. Okay. Well, that's the taste. It's not necessarily the heat. I mean, it's hot, but it's not terrible. Chew it a few more seconds and I'm going to swallow it. Alright, swallow it. Okay. Okay, I think I got most of it washed down. I don't want to wash any more down because I don't want to wash any of the heat down. Water doesn't usually help with that, but it can wash small amounts of it down. So, but I don't want to do that. I want to. Oh, that's just the taste. But it's hot, but it's not not unbearably hot. This reaction you're seeing in me is partly the heat, but more the taste of it. I just don't like the taste. I don't know why. It just tastes really bad to me. So the heat right now is about scale from 1 to 10. 10 being terrible, like awful, excruciating pain, unimaginable pain, whatever that means. I guess if 10 is unimaginable, then I guess unimaginable pain is unimaginable. So it's hard to describe that. But anyway, I digress. This is it doesn't really hurt necessarily. It's more just hot, but a little bit of spiciness too. The habanero was more hot. This is hot and spicy. I've noticed that with the Thai chili and the serrano actually also, that they were seemed like more spicy. Hard to describe, I guess, unless you experience it. And maybe I'm not describing it the best way. Maybe different people will experience different, slightly different. There's probably nuances here and there. But to me, this one has more spice than, say, the habanero did. But heat-wise, this one feels like the habanero did the first time I had a habanero. So my tolerance has gone up. This is hot, but it's very, very bearable. Like, this is probably the hottest one I've had yet. Understandably, because it's the the hottest. It's the Bujalaki is the hottest ones I've had. But because I've built up my tolerance, it's not. Am I even close to like going into a panic? Well, you can probably tell that I'm pretty calm. Well, man, there's that taste again. I'm pretty calm and collected right now. So, I've seen other people who kind of go in, who aren't used to hot chili, just kind of go into, I think I've seen them, where they kind of go into like they freak out because it's so hot. If I hadn't built up my tolerance, I may be reacting more strongly to it, but since I built up my tolerance, don't get me wrong, it's really hot, but it's tolerable. Like, I think it's that, like, I think it's not necessarily, maybe it's that I've built up my tolerance. I think it's also just that I've trained my brain has gotten used to dealing with the heat, whether that's tolerance or whether that's habituation. I'm not sure, but in any case, whichever it is, maybe both, I don't know, but I guess maybe that's what tolerance is habituation, probably. No, I'm not a psychologist. So right now, it's actually getting better already. The peak heat was, I just burped, that didn't taste very good. The peak heat was about a minute ago, and it was not very hot. I mean, yes, it was hot. Not excruciating, though. As you could tell, I wasn't freaking out. Now it's dropped maybe 20%. It's going away already. I'm going to rub my tongue against the top of my mouth. I've noticed that sometimes if I close my mouth and rub my tongue against the top of my mouth, ooh, it's actually going into my stomach now. Right now, my stomach is starting to... I'm going to take a little bit more water just to try and rinse any residual pieces down. And just took a tiny sip, maybe 2 tablespoons of water. Not a whole lot, not like a whole big gulp. Right now my stomach is starting to feel kind of like the way it does 5 minutes before you're going to throw up or have diarrhea. It's just uncomfortable now. That's kind of just part of the experience. If you've had chilies before, you know that or you probably know that they upset your stomach a little bit, but it eventually passes through. Oh, by the way, speaking of passing through, anyone who's going to try this, or just experiment with hot stuff, know that what goes in has to come out. So when you go to poop this out, your butt hole is going to probably not feel so good. I've experienced that a few times. It's the feeling in the anus is about, from my experiences, has been 50 to 75% as hot as it feels in the mouth. So if you're going to do this stuff, just know that when you hit the bathroom later on, your anus might feel like it's on fire. So just because I don't know all the science or the physiology behind it, but from what I looked into it a little bit, and apparently your body does not process chilies or the chili oils or any of that stuff. It doesn't process the chili or the seeds or the oils in the same way that it would process most foods. So, I think the flesh gets processed and absorbed, and vitamins are vitamins are absorbed from the some nutrients and vitamins are absorbed like from the flesh, but the rest of it just goes right through. The body doesn't absorb it. So the heat you feel here in the mouth, you're going to feel it in the anus as well. So you've been warned. And anyone who decides to try these hot chilies, do so at your own risk. Again, I've kind of built up my tolerance over time. Probably over the last 6 months or so, I've built up my tolerance. And this is the result. I can eat this really without a problem. It's hot, but it's very completely tolerable. I'll probably go to the Carolina Reaper next. I'm hoping to find a Carolina Reaper soon. It's been hard to find them. I live in Seattle. And here in Seattle, it took me a long time just to find the Boot Jalaki. So I'm hoping to find a Carolina Reaper one of these days. I might have to order it online, and at which point I'm actually going to go even a step farther than this. I'm going to eat it, and I'll probably rub it in my eyes as well. Why? Maybe because I'm crazy. More so I can share the experience and describe the pain. So I've done that actually with other chilies. I did that with the habanero. It wasn't fun, and I am wanting to do it with the Carolina Reaper as well. So that I may do that. I'll hopefully do that soon. Whenever I manage to get my hands on a Carolina Reaper, hopefully sooner than later. Whenever that happens, that's my plan, is to eat it and rub it in my eyes. Again, so I can share the experience and describe what it's like. So maybe stay tuned for that one. Could be in a month or two, could be in a year or two. It depends on when I can get my hands on a Carolina Reaper. So again, do this at your own risk. It's fun to build up your tolerance and to experiment, but there's also some discomfort and pain involved, like I said, both in the mouth and when you go to poop it out. So just know what you're getting into. But like I said, I started not being able to hardly even handle jalapenos, and here I am taking down Boot Jalakis really without a problem. So you can build up your tolerance over time, which has benefits like being able to tolerate spicier foods and whatnot. There's different advantages and benefits to building up your tolerance, but again, do so 100% at your own risk, and just know what you're getting into before you do it. And with that, the heat's pretty much gone right now. My stomach is upset right now, understandably. It's not like I'm gonna throw up, but it feels like it feels the way your stomach does just a couple minutes before you're either gonna have diarrhea or throw up. So that's what it feels like. And my mouth is fine now. The heat is 80-90% gone. I hardly even notice it now, actually. So that's been the experience so far. Hope you've enjoyed. Hope this has been helpful and informative and educational. And like I said, stay tuned, hopefully, in the near future for the Carolina Reaper. Until then, take care.